Yo, yo.
There he is. What's up, man?
What up?
Oh, you know,
Big
man.
week. Big week.
It's a real big week for the two of us, man.
Yes, sir, it is. All right. Big week. Broncos versus Colts. Me versus you.
Yep.
I'm excited, man. My birthday's on Sunday. I get to watch football all day on my birthday.
I get to gift you a win. How about that?
I would love that. If you could do that.
Somebody's got to give you the first one.
Man, I thought for a second I had it this week.
It looked like you did. I think we're gonna bring that game up again later on.
Oh, we definitely will be bringing that up again. That will for sure be talked about. So anyway, yeah, welcome everybody. Just finished up week 4, right? This is episode 4 for us. Nothing too big going on. We still got one team left undefeated. Logan's mom still hanging it up there. He still put up a lot of points this week.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos and Colts took a little slide on their games this weekend, heading into their Thursday night matchup. Wasn't exactly what I was looking for going into that, but somebody's going to get a win now. I mean,
one of them has to.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess they could tie, but
that's true. The Colts have done that once already. They could tie again. Speaking of getting a win, we both lost this week. One of us could get a win and watch the Colts and Broncos. Man,
yes.
I'm really looking forward to that. So.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, if me and you tie, that's way harder to do than a Colts Broncos tie.
That's true. That's true.
We'll get into those predictions later, though. I got the Broncos and Colts lined up for our predictions at the end, just to have a little bit of fun with that. So, couple other things. Eagles are left undefeated. Is the only undefeated NFL team remaining after the Dolphins lost on Thursday night. Big injury to Tua. That was sad to see.
It was awful.
Yeah, that was scary, man.
It's hard to watch. It was really hard to watch that.
Yeah, it was. We won't get into the concussion protocol stuff. That's not for us. We're not doctors. So, we did have another trade last week. Going into the week, it was made after the show. It was the one that Sean was mentioning. James Robinson for Deontay Johnson.
Which, real quick, for the fans out there, that was going to happen in the show. Logan picking James Robinson during his pick 2 is what threw me off, and I'm like, I don't know if I can accept this now.
I told Sean, I said, if you're gonna be using that against me, I'm done with that pick 2. Fuck that. It's not fun anymore.
Nah, we got it done. Got the trade done. I feel good about it.
I felt good about it too. I mean, I gave up what I consider to be a very good wide receiver, and especially after I looked at the stats and everything, it was, he's a top 10 guy. He just hadn't gotten the end zone yet. He did have a down week this week. So did James Robinson. So neither one of us really benefited too much out of it for now, but it is early.
Yep.
Another trade just went down, almost live. It was in the pre-show. It happened in the pre-show. I was in here getting all the notes ready. You want to go ahead and announce the details of that?
Yeah, I will. Jump over here. So myself and JR, we had a little trade go down. He sent me a request, and I was going to accept it yesterday, but I wanted to play nice and wait until Stafford had played. So I just wanted to make sure he didn't get hurt and, screw JR over. But
sure.
The trade was Matt Stafford and Tyreek Hill for Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, and Trevor Lawrence. So some big names in there. It sucks giving up Tyreek. I had him 1 week, and he did well for me. Carry the same last name. It's my cousin, man. But, I mean, when you can get Stephon Diggs and T. Higgins, and now, my wide receivers are set every week.
Yeah, you just play those two and Deontay Johnson, right?
Yep. Or Curtis Samuel or Miles Sanders. My flex now has options.
True. I think that. Well, we'll get into that a little bit too. I think Miles Sanders might have a spot
That's
for maybe
true.
outside of the flex.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but you got a couple of different options that you can do with your roster, and I don't think that JT injury is going to be around for too long. I think that
with him playing Thursday, he might miss this week. But
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe if you miss a Thursday game, you know what, man? If I'm Jonathan Taylor and if I'm a coach or a GM or owner of a guy like Jonathan Taylor, I don't want you playing on Thursday anyway.
Yeah, true.
In a non-divisional game, like
it's really tough to say because nobody's talking about it, but they haven't had a formal practice this week yet. So I mean, he hasn't really missed a practice because nobody's practiced.
Yeah, they did do a walkthrough.
They did a walkthrough, and he
got to the side.
But I have Raheem Hines, on the bench too as a handcuff, who I really like. I mean, when he touches the ball, he makes stuff happen. But they've got Philip Lindsay on the practice squad. I'm sure he'll move up.
The revenge game for Philip Lindsay going into Denver.
Any revenge game, I think there's merit there for plays, but we'll see. I would also, if I were a GM or a coach, I would not play Jonathan Taylor this week. As a fantasy owner, I want him to play.
Sure.
We'll see though. I mean, I've been wanting, even before the injury, wanted to shop him around and potentially do a trade. And I mean, there's a few out there, a few potentials out there already. So we'll see.
I do think his value is hard to pinpoint right now.
It is. Yeah.
And that's for trying to sell him and for trying to buy him too, for anybody, you know what I mean? For both sides.
Yeah. I think if it were a keeper league or dynasty, it would make that a lot easier, but
oh yeah, you just keep him. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, so the trade right there though, I mean, getting rid of Tyreek stinks, but when you're replacing it with two guys that are going to fill in week after week, it's, no brainer.
Yeah. I love T. Higgins. I'm glad that.
Yeah. We talked about that before too.
Yeah. And I'm glad that JR was able to get something out of it. Somebody, another high class receiver, because he definitely deserved to get a high class guy out of that. T. Higgins is a top 10 wide receiver. He just happens to have Jamar Chase. So it's tough to start both of them.
And it's fun, having Joe Burrow and being able to pair him up with somebody, getting double dipping on points. So,
Yep. All right, we'll get into the winners of the week for week 4. Devin, so WWJD getting the win over Wilson, 143 to 137. That was a tight game. Going into Monday night, Devin needed, I think, 24, 25 points, ended up getting it. Higbee had a pretty big night, had a lot of targets. Jeff Wilson taking off for 30 on a touchdown. That was huge. That was probably the play that won it was a 9-point play that won the game for Devin.
Yeah.
Good game, though. That was a fun one to watch on Monday night.
It was a tough beat, though, for you. That was a tough one.
Yes.
I thought you had it.
When we play the bad beats, that's the one that you're going to hear.
Yep. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. Drake defeating JR. That was the Grilling Dad game of the week last week. 145 to 133. Pretty high-powered offenses from both teams. JR's quarterback just didn't show up in Philly.
Yep.
Damon defeated Bob 146 to 117. Damon's team's good, man. He's put up a lot of points.
Yeah, he has.
He's run into. I think he's got a lot of points scored on him too, so that's probably why he's 2-2.
Defense, man.
Yeah, you got to play defense, dude. You got to. And then the fourth and final game, you and Mario in a barn burner. 92.
Yeah. That one was rough. It was rough. I mean, I had my top 3 players, right, were Joe Burrow. What did he actually score? He scored 20 points. Nick Chubb scored 20 points. Tyreek Hill scored 25. Everyone else, single digits or 0. Unreal. My bench scored 91, and my starter scored 92.
Yeah, your bench did have a big day. I was looking at that whenever I was going through some power ranking stuff. It went off.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, things will look a lot different. Definitely look a lot different here. when we get to bad plays, there's going to be one on my team.
You got one? Okay, good.
Yep.
Good. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the bad beat. I thought that was a horrible beat. That's 2 weeks in a row. I'm playing the bad beats, and I consider myself really into good beats, but not lately. I had 3 guys score 3 points basically each. I think it was like 2.9, 2.6 or something, and then Andrews had 3 something, and I lost by 6 or 7 points, whatever that was. And it was in the 4th quarter on Monday night. Like that was just
that makes it worse for sure.
It was some. I didn't have much confidence going into Monday night, mainly because of what has happened to me all year, But just it seemed like 25 was like really easy to get for him. I don't know. And I know Devin, I talked to Devin a little bit about it. He didn't feel that way. He was feeling nervous for him too, because he's been having some bad luck as well. But yeah, it was just, that one stung. It stung a little bit. I will say that when you're 0-3, you're a little numb. So it didn't hurt as bad maybe as if I was up there, like for the chance or something. But I did see.
Listen, you're still not out of it, to be honest. You're not. You've got a good squad. You can put up points. You've dealt with, a couple injuries. You dealt with Russell Wilson so far.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, you could win out and still make the playoffs. You're not eliminated yet.
It is there. It's possible. I did see a stat. I saw this while I was watching the Broncos and Raiders game. This is an NFL season with 32 teams. So you're playing, used to be 16 games, now 17 games with 32 teams. But teams that go 1-3 have a 14% chance of making the playoffs. Teams that go 0-4, 0% chance of making the playoffs.
Ouch.
So we were kind of talking about that a little bit last week, being 0-3 in a fantasy league.
Yep.
I think 0-4 is more like 0-3 in the real NFL and fantasy. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you've got to win this week.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Don't call it a comeback yet. Let's just say that.
All right, I won't call it that yet.
Don't worry, I won't call it that ever.
Yeah, I mean, and just looking at the game, I mean, I hate saying it, bringing myself up, but it sucked because I was up for most of the game too against Mario. But I knew when my players, just none of them were putting up points, I knew Mario was going to come back and win. It's just always tough when that happens, especially when you've got running backs going up against each other, both like high profile. One of them gets hurt and the other one, has a great game. That one stung a little, but I'm not mad about it. It's nothing like the bad beat you took and losing on Monday night. So
the 4th quarter of a Monday night.
Yeah. 4th quarter, Monday night.
And you know what makes that sting to the top level and really, really makes it a bad beat is I actually had the A&J plug and play of the week with Geno Smith.
You definitely did.
I did that.
Starting Geno over Russell Wilson of your team too.
Yeah, my team called Wilson.
Yeah.
I almost changed it to the Seattle Seahawks this week whenever I did that. But
yeah.
I will say I made that move. I got home. I went to a concert Saturday night, Krungben. Awesome show. If you guys ever get to catch them live, I highly recommend that. But very how do I put this? Recreational, drug friendly. So I had a lot of fun, man. We had a lot of fun. It was a great show. And I came home. I was a little tipsy, a little buzzed up, and I just started looking at my ESPN app, and I was just itching to do something so bad, and I don't know why. So that's what I did. I was like, I'm going to start Geno. Turns out I should have started him over Jalen Hurts, but I would have never done that.
Right. Yeah, that would have definitely been tough. I mean, Jalen's a no-brainer start every week, but I think that's the play probably for DFS too. Start the opposing quarterback, whoever's going against Detroit.
It's not a bad idea at all, really. I mean, they're scoring so many points and they're giving up so many points. So they're an over machine. I think the Vikings are like that too right now. Wouldn't mind starting a quarterback against them.
Ravens are looking like that.
Yeah.
You got a speedster, play whoever's going against the Ravens.
Yep. And Isaiah McKenzie ended up having a pretty good day. We talked about him. Yep. He did a little bit better than Gabe Davis did.
Hey, because of him, made some money on DraftKings. So
there you go. All right.
Yep. All right. First starts. Listen, I had one. I'm just hopeful. I was hopeful. Part of this trade, because I'm getting an extra player, my roster is full. I had to drop somebody. I dropped Kyle Pitts. I'm not even having him on my bench. I'm not going to try to trade him. He's just dropped. The fact that I started him and just hopeful for Kyle Pitts to finally have a game and leaving Pat Freiermuth on the bench, who's been getting consistent targets every week, it was a bad start. Mainly because Atlanta's throwing the ball like 19 times a game. I think there was a stretch, and this might not be accurate, but I mean it was about a dozen plays in a row, like 10 plus plays in a row. They ran the ball, like they just are not throwing the ball. And the fact that I played their tight end, knowing that they're not going to throw the ball much, there's not a high ceiling. He's got no floor right now.
Yeah.
I definitely should not have played him, but I did, and it was a bad start.
That was the only one that I had written down too. I actually wrote down "don't see one" and then went back through it just to try to find one, and I wrote Kyle Pitts with a question mark. Mm-hmm. I kind of figured that it was more of a positive vibes kind of thing. He did have he got a lot of targets the week before in LA. It was kind of like, oh, maybe he's gonna do that again and some more. So I understood the start, I guess, is why I didn't think it was that bad. But hindsight with this one would be a bad start. Like you said, Freiermuth getting all those targets. It's hard to not start somebody that's getting the looks versus somebody who's not even getting the ball thrown his way. So,
yep.
And with that, it wouldn't have won you the game, right?
No.
But, yeah. But either way, it's still – I know what you mean.
Yep. That one stunk.
Updated power rankings. Let's get to those.
Yeah, I've got Drake. That's who I had last week, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think Drake's still at 1 for you.
Yep. Drake's still at 1. Let me go through here. And then JR and Damon. Again, scoring a lot of points. Hard to argue that. Then I've got myself and then Mario, even though Mario's got the second best record in the league. And he's got a good squad. I just think I knew I was accepting that trade before I accepted it and before I sent these power rankings. So this is reflective of my new team, not the old team.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so Mario, then Devin, Robert, and Logan. Logan, I think your team's probably better because of the amount of points you've scored than half of the teams in our league. It's hard to come back from 0-4.
Yep. I kind of I had a little bit of that thought with me too. I wanted to put me a little bit higher, maybe even all the way up to 6, but the 0-4 thing just really kept me out of that one. My power rankings, I've got Drake. So I got Logan's mom, and then I've got the Goats at 2, Florida Sunshines at 3, Catalina Wine Mixin at 4, WWJD at 5. Sean, I got you at 6 with Scary Pits, and then I got Robert as Marcus down for 6. I love that name too. And then I've got myself at 8. So Robert at 7, myself at 8.
Yeah, Robert's pick there, his name there rather is solid. Good name. Yeah. And I mean, if you look at it, I mean it's very fair. Like my team just put up a stinker. I'm just really biased in these. I should probably remove my biasness, but I haven't yet. yeah, I mean, it's just fun to see everyone's actually making moves this year, trying to make their teams better. So even Drake not losing a game yet, he's still making a few moves. So it's fun, man.
Give me just 1 second here. I'm trying to update this for you. There we go.
ESPN, how they rank our final standing projections. They have got ESPN has Logan's mom at 1, JR at 2, Mario at 3, and now we've got WWJD. So Devin at 4, the Goats still at 5, haven't moved. Now at 6, Scary Pitts at 6, then Wilson, and then Marcus down for 6 at 8.
And that's
ESPN has you ahead of Robert.
If I'll put it this way, had I won that game against Devin this week, I would have probably put myself at 5 or 6.
Yep.
And then I think Devin would have maybe fallen. It would have been Devin and Robert bringing up the rear, but just because my points, man, I think I have like the 4th highest points. I'm just losing. So I need to pick up a win. And until I do, I am the anchor. That's how I look at it.
Yep, that's fair.
Move on to waiver ads, notable injuries. You guys will notice we're doing this on a Tuesday night this week, so it's a little bit different. We don't have the waiver ads from everybody this week. Everybody's still putting them in. So what we're going to do here is mostly just talk about some ads that are out there, people that can be picked up, talk about injuries, maybe some teams that need to replace some guys. Just kind of do it a little bit differently this week, though, for that segment. But is there any big waiver ads out there, Sean, that or anybody really that had played well this week that you see being worth use for a waiver ad?
Yeah, so I already put together a little list here. I know we didn't talk about it before, but I put all these guys on my watch list just to for this segment.
Perfect.
So Josh Reynolds, I mean, if DJ Shark's going to miss, St. Brown's going to miss.
Yeah.
The amount of points they're putting up, even if they play, even if Shark comes back and plays, I think Josh Reynolds is going to be number 2 there. And they throw the ball so much. Swift missing, there's just so many reasons Josh Reynolds is a good pickup, and a really good, just a good play almost any week. You can plug him in, into a flex if you need a guy, your guys are on, bye weeks or whatnot. And right now, I mean, if anybody misses times, I feel like he's a, must start.
Yeah.
Kind of guy. We mentioned or maybe we didn't mention it yet, but Javonte going down in Denver. I think Mike Boone, you've got to pick him up. Melvin Gordon got benched after fumbling. Plus, I think he got a little banged up in that game as well. And plus, Mike Boone is just better. When he was on the field before, he was in Minnesota, right? I think.
Yeah, it was Minnesota. Yeah.
When he plays, I mean, when he's on the field, he looks good. So we'll see. Hopefully he gets in there, gets to play against the Colts, pick up some yards, earn a spot. Because I think that backfield's wide open.
They also picked up Latavius Murray today off the same.
I saw that, yeah. Which is crazy because Latavius Murray outplayed Mark Ingram.
Yes, he did.
In that game.
And he looked okay, man. I'm telling you, that guy is a goal line machine.
Yeah, and he's been good. I mean, even when he was in Oakland, he's a solid running back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like he's not, I don't know. He reminds me a lot of Michael Turner, if you remember him.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of him. Where he's not gonna, breakaway speed type of guy, but he's gonna pick up yards and touchdowns. So I like it. It was crazy to me that he was dropped and then added. I don't know why they dropped him after a good game, but they did. So him, I think George Pickens, he had an amazing catch and a great game, mainly after Pickett came in and started playing.
Yep.
So Pickett to Pickens looked really good. And then Michael Gallup, mainly because Dak's going to be back soon. He just came back from injury. He's a solid number 2 guy behind CeeDee Lamb. So I think there's a lot of guys on here to pick up this week.
Yeah, I had some of the I really just put down Broncos running backs, basically being for Mike Boone and Latavius Murray. I think that they can be decent ads. Probably not a pickup and start, but if you were like Devin and you had Javonte Williams and you're looking to replace him, maybe pick up one of those guys and stash them and see if you can get some touchdowns out of them or something. See if they start picking up a good floor.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier.
Or if you're Devin, you could trade like Josh Allen for Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines or
Sure. Yeah, you could.
You could do that.
I also marked down Rashad Penny. He just had a big game against the Lions. He's always back and forth in that offense. He did pop off a couple of big runs though, and he's probably worth being on a team. Maybe not playing in an 8-man league, but being on a team. J.D. McKissic, he just gets a lot of targets, man, and that they're behind all the time. So he seems to play a lot. And then another one that I listed only because of the Cordero Patterson injury. Another injury to Devin's backfield is Tyler Algier. He runs the ball a lot, and I think he's going to be the pass catching guy there. So for PPR, that's going to be a good move.
I actually looked at Algier and Huntley. I think they're both solid pickups. Again, I mean, we kind of mentioned that earlier. Atlanta's going to run the ball a lot, so I think they both could be options.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't like about J.D. McKissic is Brian Robinson. He usually would be a great pickup right now because he's about to play, but he's already stashed on somebody's bench. And I think he's going to come in, be an instant starter, running the ball a lot. And I think that Antonio Gibson, who was a former wide receiver, is going to be that pass-catching guy instead of McKissic.
So you think McKissic comes down?
Yep.
And Gibson goes up. Okay. That's interesting. So I was actually gonna say that Brian Robinson comes in and takes the majority of the carries and the passes, but J.D. McKissic still gets to hold his role, and I think Gibson takes a step down, and McKissic kind of hangs right where he's at.
Yeah, well, it'll be fun to see how they do it. Hopefully, it just all goes to Brian Robinson.
I mean, it's 3 really good backs that they have, that you can use in all kinds of different ways. So, other injuries from this week, we mentioned Javonte Williams. He's gone for the year. That's sad. I was really excited to see what he was going to do this year. Tua going down with a concussion. He is ruled out for this week. JT with the ankle injury, not ruled out yet. He says that he expects to play, but if he can't go, he understands. So no real answer there. He's got the mindset of playing though. He is working at it. He's trying to get there. It's not like they already ruled him out.
Yep.
And then Cordero Patterson going down with the knee. He is going on the IR, so that's a 4-week injury. Traylon Burks went out. It looked bad. I was watching that game. I think a lot of people were. You probably were being a Colts fan too, but it didn't look very good. Turns out it's just turf toe.
That's one of those injuries, man, where it doesn't – you're like, oh, really? Your toe hurts?
Yeah. I say just turf toe. I'm sure that hurts really, really bad. But.
Yeah, it's one of those injuries. Yeah, it just sounds
his toe is probably the size of my thumb. Like,
yeah. It's like basketball players when they get plantar fasciitis. It's like, oh, your foot hurts? Come on, dude. But then if you've ever had plantar fasciitis issues, it's like, okay.
You can't walk upstairs and
yeah. Like, all right, my foot can't flex now.
Cool. Okay, so that's all I had with those.
Real quick, I will say because of Tua going out, I mean, if you need a waiver, Teddy Bridgewater could be a guy to start. He's going against the Jets defense, which has been atrocious this year. But historically speaking, Teddy Bridgewater, Big Dick Teddy, he normally does not perform well in games where he's supposed to perform well.
Yeah, he's underwhelming, and he's an underwhelming fantasy quarterback.
Yep, he is.
That way. We'll see what Mike McDaniel can do. I was kind of hoping that. I mean, it must just mean that he's not that good. It was the preseason, but I wanted to see that Skylar Thompson. Is that his name, or
is it Tompkins?
It's some. I think it's Skylar Thompson or something like that. Could be Tompkins, but
Thompson.
he was the guy that just went off for him in the. Yeah, that's him, Skylar Thompson. He was awesome in the preseason, and everybody was saying Mike McDaniel's a genius. He can do this with this guy. I was hoping maybe to see him play, and I think if Teddy Bridgewater, if this Tua injury turns out to be something that's going to last a long time, and Teddy's fallen flat like he probably will, maybe throw him in, see what happens.
I wonder if we could play highlights right there on this other screen when we're sharing it.
I'm sure you could. You just bring in the link or the screen. Yeah. You just got to make sure NFL is not going to come after you, but
right.
For all three of our viewers that we got right now.
Hey, listen. Are there people actually tuning in right now? I know a lot of times, we'll have a few people pop in and out, but
yeah. So I can see it. It'll tell me. I got a little view that it'll tell me how many people are on the live.
Oh, nice. There's 3, which means me, you, and one other person.
No, we
don't count.
No, I don't think we count unless you have that stream up right now.
Gotcha. Well, we're moving up, man. We've got 6 subscribers now.
Tell the guy, hey guys that are watching, I think it's open. I'm not sure. I can't see it, but there might even be a comment section over there to the right where you guys are able to comment as we go during the show. Obviously, I can't see it right now because I don't have it brought up, but you guys can talk about it.
We do. Wait, there are comments over there.
Perfect.
On the right-hand side, if you go from private chat, go over to comments. Those are real comments on YouTube.
Awesome.
So then you could actually move them over. Who is KY? Whoever you are, KY. Appreciate you tuning in, man.
Yeah. Okay, I'm figuring it out now.
Can you click those comments and bring it up on the screen? Yeah, there we go.
KY, Falcons running back. We did talk about him a little bit. Algier and Huntley. I think Algier's like I said, the pass catching guy. But we'll see.
Yeah, they use the running backs a lot. I mean, if you look at, Cordero Patterson, who's, been in the league for 13 years and he's 47 years old. He's been productive. Those numbers were fake. If you weren't aware, he's not that old. But I feel like he's been in the league forever, and they use running backs. They throw to running backs. They run them. It's just that's what their identity is. They're probably not going to win a lot of games, but they're going to run the heck out of the ball. So either way, I think is a good play.
Another thing they said, Jared Goff versus Rodgers. Is that a this week question? I'm assuming.
Yeah, is that a this week question?
Because if it's this week, I would probably start Goff.
Look, I mean, it's hard even if you're not, even if it's not this week, even in a tough matchup, because they throw the ball so much.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's look at all of them. Man, we got to scroll down for both of these guys now.
I'm starting Goff, man. It's not even a question for me.
So Goff's here. Who are they playing? Is that New England that they're playing?
Yeah. I'm sorry. The Lions are playing the Patriots, and the Packers are playing the Giants.
Oh, that is tough. But the Giants D's actually looked pretty decent.
Listen, Lisa. Listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda. Dude, Goff's going to throw the ball 50 times.
That's what I'm saying. And the Giants run the ball. They like to run the ball. They're banged up at wide receiver. They're going to try to take as much time off the clock as they possibly can.
Not just that.
Could turn into minimal Aaron Rodgers.
Daniel Jones is going to miss this week, right?
Is he?
I think he might.
Then they're going to run the ball even more. Start Goff. Lock it.
Yep. Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. They're both injured. Jake from State Farm is going to be playing probably. So, yes, they are going to be running the ball. Saquon, those giant-ass quads are going to be really tired.
Mm-hmm. They're going to run it. All right, so let's get into our DFS lineups. You got any Notable starts for this week? Any deals, any chalk guys that you like?
I mean, last week ended up being pretty good, but you and I chatted about it, and just kind of a strategy there. The people that made lineups, they made a lot of lineups. We saw that, and they won a lot of money. They did a stack where you're stacking a quarterback and 2 receivers against the defense. So what I would do looking here, it really depends. I mean, if how long is Mac Jones out? Is Zappy going to be the quarterback? Like, who knows, right? I don't know if we know that yet. I think that determines a lot, because if Zappy's playing, are they going to throw the ball? If so, then I think Devontae Parker could be a guy that I would play, because you're going against Detroit, and Detroit does not have a defense. They left that at home. But so I think that's one guy that I would play. I haven't looked at the over-unders yet this week. Have you looked at those yet?
Yeah, I've got them up here. High over-unders for this week. We got 2 games at 48.5. Falcons and Bucks. I don't really see why that's so high. And I don't really like many of the players from that game. But Vegas knows more than we do, so maybe go after it. The other game that I really like is the Eagles and Cardinals, also at 48.5. I think that game could go for over 50 points.
Where's like the list? Usually there's like a long list, so I don't have to scroll. Anyway. Yeah, so Thursday, so here's that's Monday. Here we go. So 45, 43.5. Oh, goodness gracious. The Steelers, they're getting some players back, but they are still weak there. The Bills are going to put up points. This could be one of those, like another Bills stack.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually. I wrote that down. They're 47.5 over under, and I think the Bills are gonna score most of those points.
Yep. And I would probably, if I'm stacking, I'm probably not going Gabe Davis. I like Gabe Davis
often.
Yep. McKenzie.
He's got to do something before he can be on a lineup again.
Yep, for sure. For sure. And then that, the Eagles Cardinals game should be really exciting. I know you mentioned that one. So I think that, let's see, kind of guys here as far as cheap options go. I think that Josh Reynolds is still going to be an option. Let me see how much he is, though.
I like your idea about the Patriots wide receivers, though, regardless of who's going to start at quarterback.
Yeah, you think so? So Reynolds is 4,900. Let's see where Devontae Parker is. Yeah, he's 4,700. So, I mean, you're already starting off really cheap with some discounted players going there. Jacoby Myers.
He's hurt. He's been hurt. He's listed as questionable going into this week, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was just down there. So it was Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, but I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I can.
Don't do it.
It's gonna be real hard anytime you do. But I think Devontae Parker.
Telling you, don't do Nelson Aguilar.
No, anytime you do, it backfires. But no, I think Devontae Parker, Josh Reynolds from that game are both playable, with a lot of potential upside. It's going to be real hard at 4,900 not playing TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I have him listed down as you almost have to.
Yeah, with that many points that they score. You know who I'm already like planning this and sorry to get a little off topic, but when Dak is back, like Dalton Schultz is already $3,400. By the time Dak's back next week, like he'll probably be around 2,900.
Yeah.
And what's his face right now? Cooper Rush doesn't throw the ball to Dalton Schultz, but Dak does. So once Dak's back, man, I think that's going to be a really good value play. I'm not seeing a whole lot of other people. I think Hunter Henry could be a good play against Detroit.
Interesting.
Your other dude, Jonnu Smith, is out this week. so they only got one startable guy, and Hunter Henry is talented, and they're going to be limited on options if Jacoby Myers misses again. So that could be the other guy to play against Detroit.
Mm-hmm. I got some quarterbacks listed down. Jared Goff, $6,100. I think he's a good start.
Any week right now, he's a great start.
Right, yeah, and especially if you're going to tie him in, and I got a little lock written down next to it with T.J. Hawkinson. I think if you're going to start Goff, you need to start Hawkinson or Reynolds. Try to stack him. Why would you not stack the Lions right now if you're going to do a stack?
And they're cheap.
Yeah, they're all cheap. I mean, Jamal Williams has gotten up. I think he is now up at $6,500. I don't know necessarily if that's a good deal, but they give him the ball a lot whenever DeAndre Swift's out. So he's a guy that I would have down for running backs. But quarterbacks too. Kirk Cousins, $6,300. He's a decent little play. And then Jalen Hurts against the Cardinals. Just for the chalk play, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Running backs, I'm not off the James Robinson train. I think it was a bad game script for him last week. I don't know why. They were up 14-0 to start the game and then just did not run the ball. I think Doug Peterson had some sort of ego thing going on being in Philadelphia. He wanted to say, hey, check out my new toy. Look what I got. Look what I can do.
Yep.
But it was raining. It wasn't good for Trevor Lawrence. He just kept throwing him out there to the wolves. Run the damn ball. So I like James Robinson this week. I like Dameon Pierce this week.
I was getting ready to mention that. Yep.
Yeah, I like both of them. I think they're going against each other too, and that could turn into a stalled out game where each team just tries to run the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what we saw with the Bears and the Texans a couple of weeks back. Jeff Wilson's $5,500. I think you have to start him for that amount.
Yeah, I mean, at $5,500, it's going to be hard not to.
Mm-hmm. Brees Hall's the guy. He's got a great
Who
floor.
also showed up last week.
Yeah, he's got a great floor, man. He's cheap. So if you're able to, he's $5,400. So that allows you to maybe spend higher at a wide receiver or get a T.J. Hawkinson who's in the 49. I think you said he's $4,900 or the 4,000 range. That lets you spend up a tight end too. And then Raheem Mostert got 15 carries last week, and he's $5,000. He's getting most of the work for Miami.
Yeah. So Edmonds scored the touchdown, but Mostert has looked better. They had the same amount of targets in the passing game too. So I think that Mostert's a good play. One other quarterback to mention who will never be this cheap ever again is Tom Brady.
Oh.
So historically looking, if you look at all of Tom Brady's seasons, he usually does, except like a couple of Randy Moss seasons in that era, he usually does start off slow, especially last year, year before, as he's been in Tampa. Those first few games are slow for him. And I mean, it's not like he had a training camp to get to know any of his guys. So he's 6,000. He's even cheaper than Jared Goff.
Wow.
And he's against Atlanta. I mean, we talked about Atlanta running the ball, so maybe he's not on the field as much, but they don't have a defense, and they've got a lot of weapons coming back that he can throw the ball to.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't ever think Tom Brady would be that cheap either. So
right, last week he threw the ball 50 times.
Wow,
isn't that right? 50, 52 times.
Yeah, I mean that's worth a look. Then, you could get him and stack him with any of his wide receivers. Really, you could do a Russell Gage or spend up and get a Mike Evans. Tie that in. Maybe that's why they got that game at a high over/under. They think Brady is ready to let loose.
Vegas usually knows.
Yeah, they do, and they are high over/under. Like I said, they're one of the highest actually on Sunday. So,
yep, I do think that. There are a few defenses that you can play.
You want to hear the low over-unders? Just before you
let's hear that.
Low over-unders are Titans versus Commanders. I started the Titans last week against the Colts, and it was big. It helped a lot. That over-under is at 42.5, and then you've got the 49ers versus the Panthers at 38.5. I'm guessing that the 49ers are going to cost a little bit, so it's not like you're going to get a deal on that defense.
Yeah, they're 3,800, but if you're spending down everywhere else,
yeah,
that's a good defense to have.
It is.
I will say, even though the Bills are the most expensive, and usually if you're a fan of the show, you know that we usually punt on defense and hope for some turnovers, but they're going against Pittsburgh. I mean, Pickett is young. He's going to make mistakes. And, I mean, they're going to be up by 1,000,000 points where they're just going to keep throwing the ball. So
yeah, Pick City.
Pick City. I think there's probably going to be 4 or 5 interceptions. A couple of them ran back for touchdowns. So I think I'll spend up on the Bills this week.
Going chalk on defense.
Yep.
It's different. Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, we usually don't do that, but I get that play. And we even mentioned that they did have a high over under, but I see the Bills, taking care of about 30 to 35 of that 47.5. So
I think that, man, this is a really juicy looking lineup. My gosh.
Who you got?
So this is what we've got so far, and it all fits with $100 left. Tom Brady, Dameon Pierce, James Robinson, Mike Evans, Devontae Parker, Josh Reynolds, TJ Hawkinson, Chris Godwin, and the Bills. So you're stacking Tom Brady with Evans and Godwin.
Yep.
You're throwing Josh
Godwin is coming back this week. Is that a fact?
Huh?
Is Godwin coming back this week? Do we know that?
Yeah, I mean he just played too, right?
Oh, he did? I didn't.
Yeah, he played. He had
I didn't realize that.
He had 10 targets.
Okay.
And he had seven for 59.
So we got Pierce, Robinson, Mike Evans, Godwin. Who was the third wideout?
Devontae Parker and Josh Reynolds. So those are the Detroit game where you've got to play somebody against Detroit and you got to play somebody for Detroit.
You got to play somebody from them.
TJ Hawkinson. So if you don't like Reynolds, I mean, you could spend up a little bit more and get Isaiah McKenzie, but he is in like concussion protocol. So
yes, keep an eye on that. If
Mooney is right there, Elijah Moore, Michael Gallup, Russell Gage. I mean, another.
I like Michael Gallup, man.
He's going against the Rams, so Jalen Ramsey is going to be locked on to CeeDee Lamb.
He's got stuff to do. Yeah, he's busy that day.
So
Jalen's gonna be busy. I do like. I don't mind too much really stacking the Josh Reynolds and the Hawkinson. That would have been really good with a Goff play, but Goff costs $100 more than Brady does, and I kind of like that Brady stack with Evans and Godwin if you can pull that off.
I do too. Would you go Gallup
over Reynolds?
Over Reynolds?
That's so tough. That is so tough. I'm gonna go with Reynolds.
Real quick, let me redo this because if I put Godwin up there as a receiver instead of the flex, I don't know why I did that. There's actually more options where you could get Mostert to throw him into the mix as well. So you could have Darnell Mooney.
I think I would like Reynolds or Gallup more than Mostert.
I would too.
From the receiver standpoint.
Yeah, and that's where it is. Those are really the only. I mean, Allerget's there. You could get him if you wanted to really go down and maybe go up somewhere else. But
I say we go Reynolds Hawkinson, man. Let's stack that Lions game. Let's do it.
Done. All right, submitted it. That was accidentally for the Millionaire Maker.
What was the defense that you put in there again? You get the Bills?
That's the Bills defense, yep.
Man, I'm so happy people don't make us choose kickers anymore.
Yeah, I don't. Does FanDuel still do that?
I don't know.
They made you choose kickers for a while. Oh yeah, if you're tuning in, you're not part of the league. We don't do kickers in our league. We kicked them out.
We kicked them out. Got booted. A lot more fun that way.
It is. Kickers are awful to have in your fantasy league. Nothing but headaches.
That would be the majority of bad beats would have been because of kickers.
For sure.
Straight up.
Yep.
All right, so let's get to the pick 2.
Ooh, what positions are we going?
Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. You chose last week. I'll choose this week. Let's go opposite from what we did last week. Let's do wide receiver, tight ends.
Wide receiver, tight end. Okay.
Pick 2 from last week, though. Sean did win from a score of 44.22 to 18.86. Sean starting Josh Allen and Nick Chubb. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Logan starting Jalen Hurts and James Robinson. Sean won 2-1 on the year. The James Robinson pick. Sean thinks I have insider knowledge. Telling you guys, anytime I say something about a running back, fade him. Fade him.
That's how it's been so far.
Fade Logan's running backs. That should be your fantasy team name, period. Let me tell you a funny story, Sean. It's not that funny. It actually sucks really bad. But remember I told you I went to a concert Saturday night, got home, pretty messed up, had fun changing my lineup, putting Gino in. Mm-hmm. Started going through some other leagues, Damon's other leagues. I noticed I have Alvin Kamara sitting there, and he was still questionable Saturday night. They played at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
I had to set an alarm for 6 o'clock to tell myself to wake up and check and see if Alvin Kamara is playing. My alarm goes off. I didn't go to bed till about 2 a.m., so I'm groggy, barely there. I roll over. I look at it. It says Kamara's inactive. Perfect. I'll take him out. I'll put in Melvin Gordon. I'm good to go, right? Solid. Game's going on all day. I'm playing my brother, too, in this game. Game's going on. You can tell it's going to be close, man. And Melvin Gordon fumbles, loses a 1.5 or whatever it was. Never got back in the game. Ended up scoring minus 1.25 points. I lost that fantasy game. 87.76 to 87.32. Had I not been responsible and set my lineup and set an alarm to set my lineup at 6 in the morning, I would have won that football.
Just from
zero. That was hurt.
Yeah. Goodness. That's awful.
Fade my running backs.
Wow, definitely. All right, so who are we going this week?
This week we're going wide receivers and tight ends. And Sean, you're 2-1 on the season.
2-1
for anybody keeping track at home.
All right.
Oh, wide receiver, tight end is what we're doing. Yeah. I'm gonna take a quick peek here.
Are we excluding TJ Hawkinson? Because I feel like we're both going to play him.
I was going to pick him, so
same.
Yeah, somebody else. Yeah. Okay.
Save a step.
Yep. Good talk.
Man, this is tough. This is tough. All right, I got it.
All right. Here, I better do this.
Got mine.
All right. Who you got?
Tyreek and Hunter Henry.
Okay, I got Stephon Diggs and Travis Kelce.
Solid.
I don't even know where it's at, but it's there. That's what I wrote down.
Yeah, I only looked at Sunday games, but Kelce was a good pick there.
Diggs and Kelce, and you. I'm sorry, you chose Hunter Henry.
Yep, and Tyreek.
And Tyreek Hill, your new wide receiver.
My new guy. When I trade for a receiver, they usually go off. Say that again.
Don't fade Sean's wide receivers.
Yeah, usually if I make a trade, they have a really good game.
And I should say this: fade my running backs in fantasy, as in weekly fantasy. My DFS running backs usually hit. So
Dameon Pierce is going to be a good pick this week.
Take that all with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to our predictions for week 5. Do the rundown here. Last week we both went 1-3 in our predictions. Sean, that takes you to 7-5 on the season. That takes me to 4-8 on the season. 3 games back, basically. That one's I love doing this. I think that's fun. That'll be a little fun record to have at the very end too. I wish everybody else was playing along with us on that.
Yep.
But rundown of the games this week.
Hey, who let the dogs out?
No kidding, right? Rundown. Okay, we got Catalina Wine Mixing versus the Florida Sunshines. Mario versus JR. Who you got?
Because I just picked Tyreek, and he's going to be on the Florida Sunshines team. I'm going Sunshines. No disrespect, Mario. I promise. I like your team. I just really like JR's team, and I really like Tyreek Hill. I think that's going to be the difference maker.
It's not that I don't, or it's not that I dislike Mario's team either. I, in fact, like Mario's team. I think he's got very strong running backs, and I think he's got a good wide receiver core, and he's got Lamar Jackson. But he does have one of the lowest scores out of the season for what that's worth, and he's still sitting at 3-1. But he also beat you last week in a barn burner, like we had talked about. I do have JR winning that game. The next game on the docket, you got the Goats versus Logan's mom, Damon versus Drake. Who you got?
All right. This is the week. Drake's getting his first loss to the Goats. And the Goat is going to be the leading scorer. Tom Brady, again, going to be leading the way.
Good pick. I'm taking Logan's mom this week. I think he goes to 5-0. That was a tough one for me. I think
you love Logan's mom.
I do. Yeah, I can't pick against Logan's mom. But I do like Drake in this game. Ultimately, I think that his team's it's really good, and it's hard to bet against him. It would have been fun to watch those two play last week. It would have been a score of 146 to 145, and hopefully we get to see something like that again.
Yeah, dang.
Then we got Marcus down for 6 versus WWJD. Robert versus Devin. Who you got?
It's going to be real hard for Devin to win this game if, by the way, just if you're looking at the screen, he doesn't have a couple starters in his lineup. That's normal. He doesn't have running backs there because every running back that he puts into his lineup or on his team gets hurt.
Fade Devin running backs too.
Or is just not good. Like he has 2 bench spots with Pollard and Zeke, both who are like not even RB3s in 12-man leagues. They're both just not getting points. So unless Devin makes a trade, I think he's losing this week no matter what to Robert's team, who also has a deceiving record of 1-3. I actually like his squad quite a bit. His receiving core is really good. And always when you have Kelsey, it's pretty much going to be a positional advantage. So I've got Rob.
I also have Bob down. I think Devin is a little banged up at running back right now.
You know what would make his team better? Trading Josh Allen for
Josh Allen or Jonathan Taylor, who's probably not even going to play this week.
It'd still be a good trade.
Still pick Bob, but but no, I think it'll be a close game. I just think Bob's team. I like Bob's team too. I think it's also a deceiving 1-3. And I think Devin is a 2-2 team. You know what I mean? Like he is the definition of a 2-2 team.
Yep.
I think I'm a 2-2 team. But and then we got the new segment.
That's not working.
We got the new segment brought to you by the Grilling Dad. I happen to know the guy personally. What about you?
I know him really well.
Yeah.
Really
Some
well.
might say you know the most about him, as a matter of fact.
It's true. I do.
Run us down. What is the Grilling Dad, Sean? What's that come from?
Yeah, the Grilling Dad, man. That's a site that I've been running. It started off as a small blog, just kind of as I was learning about grilling and smoking meats, decided to start blogging about it. You know, as a day job, I work in SEO at a pretty cool company, and started using that knowledge to build my own site, and it's doing well, man. You know, it was almost 300,000 page views last month.
Awesome.
Yeah, so a lot of growth. So if you want to smoke some meat and learn about it, or if you're interested in buying a new grill and want to learn about those, ton of reviews on there.
GrillingDad.com, guys. Come on. Grilling Dad, game of the week. Maybe not so warranted with us two doing teams down at the bottom of the league, but hey, It's our show, so we get to do whatever we want, and we're making us the Grilling Dad game of the week. Scary Pitts versus Wilson, Sean versus Logan. Who you got?
Yeah. So again, I mean, this is going to be, I think it's going to be really close when the other players are here. So Jonathan Taylor's not in the lineup. I'm expecting him to miss this game. Again, if he plays, I think it's a really bad decision on the Colts, but that's still up in the air. If he plays, I'm playing him. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence is not going to fit in here. I'll probably pick somebody up off the waivers. A couple receivers that are going to fit in, man. But honestly, I just don't think I've got enough firepower this week. Jonathan Taylor being out, most likely, I think that you're going to pick up the win.
I have myself down as getting
it's the first time I've
victory.
Voted against myself, by the way.
I'm glad that was my birthday present, right? Wasn't it?
Yep, it's your birthday present. Yeah. I'm going to just roll with this lineup here.
I made my pick before that trade went down. That trade changes a lot. That builds your lineup and stacks your wide receivers. But I'm still going to go with myself almost as a just hopeful, or wishful thinking kind of thing. And I think before that trade anyway, what I was looking at, I think that I had a stronger team for the week and my matchups were better. So I'll stick with me for that one.
Yeah, so this will be Stephon Diggs and then T. Higgins here. And I'll be going back and forth between Miles Sanders, who just had a hell of a game, and he's going against Arizona. Should be a high-scoring game like we talked about. So he'll probably be there, or Deontay Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Absolutely. It's a high-scoring game. It's another high-scoring game too.
Yep.
And now you've got two players from that high-scoring game.
Yeah. So the thing may be Miles Sanders just spits up or moves up here to running back. Deontay Johnson here, and then quarterback, go pick somebody up or roll with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, after looking at your new team, I should probably change my pick. I'm not going to, though. I'm going to be stubborn on this one. I'm picking me on my birthday.
Let's do it. Hey, I had a game last year on my birthday. I think it was on a Monday and ended up winning on the Monday. So,
and we should mention that, too, when Devin beat me in the fourth quarter of yesterday's Monday night game, it was Devin's birthday.
Yep.
Cool.
I mean, I feel like you have to win on your birthday.
Yeah.
You have to.
And then the fun one, man. We're gonna add this little prediction to the series. We won't keep it unless you want to on the full season slate of records. But I wanted to introduce the Broncos versus the Colts for this week, the real matchup of the week. Me versus you, our teams facing each other. Sean versus Logan, Colts versus Broncos. Who you got?
As far as Colts versus Broncos, I think that it's really going to depend who the Colts move to running back. I mean, I think that's going to be a lot of it. Man, again, it's hard voting against your own team, but I think the Broncos are going to pull out a win.
Broncos?
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to go with Broncos too. Broncos. I think Jonathan Taylor does not play. I think Russell Wilson has a good game. They let him cook, as they say. I got the Broncos by 3.
By how many?
By 3.
By 3. I like that. I think that Jonathan Taylor being out, if he's out, and they throw the ball a lot, which they should, Michael Pittman could have a really big game. But I just don't think there's going to be enough. I don't think the Colts have it figured out. I think the Broncos are better than they've looked. I think Russell Wilson has a great game against the Colts. This is going to be a season-defining game for Russell Wilson.
I think so too. And I think that the Broncos defense is just going to be too good for the Colts. That's how I see it being a low-scoring affair, something like 17-14, 20-17, something like that. Maybe even go to overtime. Colts have to show up in the second half. So.
Yep. I think it's going to be 20-9 Broncos.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope so, man. All right, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Hey, thanks for commenting.